the ins and outs of building a scalable and sustainable talent practice. This is brought to you by America Achieves and the Collective Impact Talent Initiative. America Achieves is a national nonprofit organization founded in 2011 to strengthen democracy by building educational bridges to the middle class and reestablishing the link between work and opportunity. In early 2023, America Achieves selected LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group to participate in a philanthropically funded National Talent Pipeline pilot project known as the Collective Talent Initiative. The Collective Talent Impact Talent Initiative builds upon America Achieves' work with equity-centered economic growth and workforce regional coalitions through the Commerce Department's Build Back Better Challenge and the Good Jobs Challenge, both which were a part of the Biden administration's America Rescue Plan. The Collective Impact inclusive, place-based regional coalitions from across the country, from upstate New York and Central Valley, California, to Virginia and Texas, among others, with individualized and capacity building support to source, recruit, hire the key diverse talent needed to drive the regional coalition's initiative and bold visions of equity-centered economic growth and workforce development. The Collective Impact Talent Initiative is grounded in the belief that the coalitions and their work are only as good as their teams and people. And that brings us to talk a little bit about LER Consultants and Advisors, founded by myself, Leslie Esters Redwine, and I've provided executive search since 2018, along with talent development services, interim executive support, and executive coaching to a myriad of organizations across the country, including nonprofits and schools. We're based in Michigan, and I happen to be an attorney and an executive leader for over 20 years. I earned my BA from the University of Michigan, my Juris Doctorate from University of Detroit Mercy School of Law, or Detroit Mercy Law, and Baruch College's Marx School of Public and International Affairs is where I earned my master's in public administration. My colleague working with me on this project is Deronda Williams, and she has been providing talent and search services focusing on C-level finance and operations roles to an array of organizations in education, racial and social justice, and philanthropic sectors. She's been doing that since 2012. Deronda is based in Nevada and has over 20 years of executive experience across multiple industries. Deronda earned her BS in Industrial Engineering from Northwestern University and also has an MBA in finance from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. As consulting partners and expert advisors to this initiative, LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group worked with a number of regional coalitions to support their talent strategy, including providing thought partnership on recruitment and hiring processes and developing robust pipelines of high caliber, diverse candidates to fill key roles. In addition to LER Consultants and Advisors and DGW Consulting Group, we also worked with Bolster and Agility Consulting, who partnered with America Achieves on this initiative. You can learn more about the Collective Talent Impact Talent Initiative by going to catalyzeblog.americaachieves.org/talent_initiative or by emailing catalyze@americaachieves.org. In this series, LER and DGW are excited to share with you some key insights and actionable tips on how to source, recruit, hire, and retain diverse, high-quality talent you need in your organization and coalition. So let's learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of building a scalable and sustainable talent practice.
Today's conversation is really going to center on the ins and outs of building scalable and sustainable talent practices. And what I believe this is about is really looking at organizations that want to grow. Many of the organizations that we've had a chance to work with have started really small and they're building teams. And in some instances, there's no HR person. In some instances, there's no one who's really kind of thinking about talent, or the team's all coming together. And so as a part of this work with America Achieves, and as we think about this work with our other clients, we want to really make sure that the practices that are put in place really help the organization to continue to grow. we know that building organizations and culture, we have to be able to really drive the measures that are going to help organizations monitor culture, monitor the success of the talent that they bring into the organization using performance metrics and being able to use different kinds of benchmarks to understand how the organization is performing. And that's what we're really going to talk to you about today. So, Deronda, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'd say one thing in terms of really ensuring that you can recruit and retain talent is having a well defined and strong organizational culture. That is going to be critical because when you're recruiting, candidates want to know what the organizational culture is like. They want to make sure that it is an organization that they want to join. And then once you actually hire that talent, you want to have a strong culture to ensure that you can retain them.
And as a leader of an organization, building that culture is so critical. And really, it's not really the leader alone, right? You have to bring your team in and really talk about what is our mission? What are our values? What do we believe in as an organization? And, what is the vision? What's the strategic direction that we're going in as an organization so that we can, when we bring in talent into our organization, we're able to actually add them to the bench and then really help them along to understand who we are, what we do, what is our value proposition in terms of what it is we're trying to achieve as an organization.
Yeah, I would say the second thing is having clear roles and responsibilities. Everyone in the organization should have a job description. They should know what their role is, the scope of their role, and their responsibilities. Because no matter how strong your culture is, if there's role confusion or lack of role definition, people are going to get in the way and people will get very frustrated and leave the organization.
That's so true. I can think of so many examples of when someone, kind of started in an organization, they were really excited, they got on board it, they got there, and then they were just kind of lost in, what am I to do next? What's the direction of the organization? And so I think for leaders, really being able to define, what is our strategic vision? What is it that we're going to accomplish? And then really having your folks on boarded with that. And so here, I think, is really critical to have structures and systems in place to make sure that there are these check-ins that happen between, supervisors and their subordinates or the leaders and the people that they're working with to really make sure that everything is on pace. So organizations that do this practice, I think, find themselves to be, further ahead. Because if I'm a manager, I have some goals that I want to accomplish. And they're goals that my team needs to accomplish. And we need to really, I have to assess as the manager whether or not we're on track. And to be on track, that means I have to check in with people that I'm managing to ensure that they're on track to hit those goals and targets. And so setting those goals and having those metrics and benchmarks that I'm going to really like peek in from time to time and see how is this person performing? Are they meeting the standards that I need them to be on track and on pace for being able to achieve our goal? Do we need to course correct? Do we need to redefine what it is that we're doing? Perhaps something in the planning didn't happen and we need to go back and really start from zero. I won't know that information if I haven't set the time and made the time to check in with the person who I'm managing to understand that. And let me say something. I think as we're building a talent practice, this is to me one of the most critical components of the work because I think that for people to feel like they're doing their job well, they need feedback. Right, Deronda?
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to build on a couple of things that Leslie just said. I want to go back to the goals. It is very important that everyone has clear goals. People need to know, what does success look like for me? How am I going to be measured and evaluated? And so having those clear goals, getting buy-in is going to be critical. And then, like Leslie said, there should be a cadence of check-ins, so that people are getting feedback not at the end of the year, but on a regular basis. And I would recommend making that a two-way communication on feedback. Like, me as the manager, how can I be a better manager for you, my direct report? And then what feedback do I want to give my direct report on what they're doing well, areas they need to improve? And then you also want to check in on how they're performing against their goals and where they need help, where you can support them as their manager to remove obstacles or roadblocks.
Mhm. And this is where having a really good personal relationship with the person that you're managing is critical. So, couple recordings ago, we talked about bringing somebody into the organization and having a really good process. Hopefully, you had that coffee chat up front. You had another offer that you made this employee. You set a 90-day plan so that you would, in their first 90 days, there's this routine, get to know you and really check in on the work. And then as the manager, you've set in kind of some weekly or bi-weekly opportunities to really get to know the person. And to getting to know the person, it's not about the work per se. It's about getting to know them. What are the things that they're actually balancing and managing in addition to the work? Is that impacting their work? Are there things that are happening outside of their lives that are really getting, somehow that we need to be mindful of to give them more time or to be a little sensitive? That's something I think you can't go wrong as a manager, really investing. Perhaps there's somebody in your organization, they like to play sports, they like to go running, they like to go parasailing, or vacationing is something that just really gets them jazzed up. We should know those things about the folks that we work with, because those are the things, and those many conversations about that can actually help drive performance in a whole different direction. And especially, look, as we think of family issues, and we just came off of a very critical time with COVID, right? Where people were sick. Some people, didn't make it. And having to have those conversations with people within the organizations of how we're going to balance that. They were ill, their families were ill, they were caring for sick children. Having to be receptive to that really heightens our awareness for how we just need to be writ large. And I think if we're able to make sure that we're having conversations to really get to know people on a personal level, I can assure you that it makes the work that much more easier.
I agree. And I would just end with one last thing. Ensure that you are offering professional development opportunities for your staff and growth opportunities. When people join organizations, many of them want opportunities to advance. And so make sure that you are developing them and coaching them, offering those opportunities as well as growth opportunities. I want to just end by giving a shout out to America and Chiefs. Thank you for allowing us to work with you on this initiative. And we hope that you enjoyed this segment.
I know. Thanks so much, Deronda. And this is what we've shared today, I think is helpful, can be helpful on a number of fronts. And we'd be happy to have you reach out to us and talk a little bit more about what it is that we do. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
We want to thank you so much for joining us today to hear about the ins and outs of building a scalable and sustainable talent practice. We hope that you will take the time to review the other segment in this series about sourcing, recruiting, hiring, retaining high quality talent. We are excited to have partnered with America Achieves and the Collective Impact Talent Initiative, helping inclusive place-based regional coalitions from across the country meet their talent needs. If you'd like to connect with either Deronda or myself directly, feel free to reach out to consultants and advisors at Leslie at lerconsultants.com or DeRhonda Williams at Williams at dgwcg.com. And also, if you want to learn more about the Collective Impact Talent Initiative, go to catalyzeblog.americaachieves.org/talent_initiative or email them directly at catalyze@americaachieves.org. Thank you so much for joining us today.